Yo, I've been busting my ass and working hard for a very long time. And I'm very fortunate that my music career and production company are doing extremely well. So I decided it was time to get a bigger and better studio. This is allowing me to do something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time and something that a lot of you, both my friends and fans, have been asking me for. So let's get down to it. What's up, everybody? I'm Dreadful Gooz. I'm here at the new Murder the Mix Studios, and today we're doing a fucking studio tour. Let's get it. If you watched MTV Cribs back in the day, then you'll recognize this famous line. This is where the magic happens. This is my desk. This is where I do all my mixing, my mastering, recording, etc., etc., etc. I do a bunch of work on my computer as well for my production company when we shoot music videos and things of that nature for clients. So before we check out the rest of the studio, let's take a closer look at some of the stuff you guys normally see on camera. All right, so basically I'm gonna run down my table and everything on it, and hopefully you guys can use some of the information that I'm sharing with you to build your own studio, or whether it's a home studio, or if it's, you know, if you're doing this for a living or business, maybe this will help you with any questions that you may have about audio production and things like that. All right, so let's get started with my interface. This is the Focusrite Claret, and it is my favorite interface. And one of the reasons I love this interface is because it has such great, clean sounding preamps. If you know what you're doing and you're using great mics and great gear through this thing, then it's going to sound amazing. Another thing that I really love is that I have no latency issues with this thing whatsoever. So when I'm tracking DI guitars and using VST stuff like the Neuro DSP plugins that you've seen on my channel, it's always a very nice and smooth experience. And that's something that you absolutely need, especially if you're running a recording studio for like business and you're eating off this stuff. You need to make sure that it's a smooth experience for you working and for your clients. One of the coolest features of this interface is the air feature. And let me go ahead and switch it on real quick so you can see. Here you can see that all of the LED lights are now on. This means that the air feature is enabled on the preamps. You can have it on all the preamps, you can have it on one of the preamps. It's really up to you. What is the air feature, you may ask? Well, basically, Focusrite took their favorite preamp setting from their legendary console and recreated it and put it in here. When you engage the air feature, basically it changes the characteristic of the preamp in a way where the bottom end tightens up and the highs sound brighter and more open without sounding brittle. I use this feature a lot on drum overheads, and I can use it on anything like bass, vocals, and a lot of different guitar styles. It's no secret that I love the Focusrite stuff. I mean, I have a bunch of their products. I've used a bunch of their products in the past. And, you know, they're just great. They're super high quality stuff, very affordable prices. And like I said, if you know what the hell you're doing, your recordings and mixes are going to sound great using these things. So if you haven't already, definitely go ahead and check out Focusrite's website. To the left of my Focusrite Claret is my Focusrite ISO 1. This is what the preamp on the legendary console looked like. Its appearance was tweaked, obviously, to fit this small, compact enclosure, but any audio nerd knows as soon as they see it what it is. There were only 10 Focusrite consoles made in the whole world, and today only a few of them remain. There's actually one of these legendary consoles nearby me, about 15 minutes away, so maybe I'll take a trip out there one of these days and show you guys the console. The way that I describe what the air feature sounds like on the Claret is similar to what this sounds like, except this has a lot more bells and whistles, and it has different preamp characteristic settings. The ISO setting is what the original console sounded like, and then you have other settings that allow you to make it brighter or warmer, depending on what you need. Underneath my Focusrite Claret, we have my hot-rodded Pro MPA2 preamp by ART, and we have my Pro VLA2 compressor by ART as well. Now, I say hot-rodded because both of these were hot-rodded, as you can see here, by a company called Revive Audio. Basically, what they do is they take all the parts out of it and they replace it with like super high quality components. So they make this unit, which normally costs $300 to buy, they make it sound and perform like those $3,000 preamps and compressors, etc., etc. So definitely also check out Revive Audio. I use both of these guys for recording all of my vocals and all of my clients' vocals. Also, I use these for DI guitars because it allows me to play around with the gain of the preamp and fatten up the sound or tighten up the low end of the instrument before it even gets into the claret. And here we have my MIDI keyboard. This is my Novation Launch Key 49. It's got really smooth keys, really smooth pads, but what I love most about it is that it syncs up perfectly with Ableton Live. And for those of you who don't know, Ableton Live is the DAW that I use in my studio. You don't have to install any drivers for this thing. You literally just plug it in via USB 2.0 into your computer and it will automatically read in your session. So that's another plus. If you do not have a vocal booth, then you need to get yourself one of these. This is the Chaotica Eyeball, and this thing is absolutely incredible. It's like having a vocal booth that's portable, and this thing really makes a difference. Go ahead and go to chaoticaeyeball.com, or is it chaotica.com? I'll put the link in the description box down below, but definitely go check these out, and these things are amazing. I don't have a vocal booth in here yet because, again, I just moved in not too long ago, but I will build one soon. But I still don't want to get rid of this thing because if I ever need to be portable or mobile, then I got this guy. And I got a pair of these guys. These are, am I pointing on the camera? There we go. These are my Yamaha HS8 monitors. They are absolutely incredible because they are very flat. Some monitors like the KRKs are very bass heavy, and that's great if you're just listening to music or listening to whatever on your computer. But for studio recording and playback and mixing or mastering, whatever, I love the HS8s from Yamaha because, again, they're very flat. You do not want a speaker that's gonna add low end. You want it to be as flat as possible because you want to hear what you're actually doing in a mix. So check out the HS8s. They also make them for people who don't have big spaces. You can get the HS7s, or if you're in a really tiny place, the HS5s. They also make a subwoofer that goes along with these guys, and I'll be getting that soon too. So do I really need them with the HS8s? No, but like Yngwie Malmsteen says, more is more. All right, if you follow me on my other social media sites, or if you've seen any of my footage from NAMM, then you'll know that my girlfriend is English. And I travel to England quite a bit. So here's some little decorative knickknacks that I have. I got like a goblet over here. Or is it over there? And then I've got like a little knight's head that my girl's mom just gave me for my birthday. And then over here, up the top, you'll see some of the masks that I've worn on stage. And I have the chest plate that I wear on stage too, somewhere here in the studio. I think they're by my guitars, but we'll see all that stuff later. And my screen is just a regular old LG screen. It's nothing fancy. Gets the job done. Me and my good friend Alvin were talking one day about recording and mixing and mastering and all that, audio stuff. And he said something very important. He said that getting a great sounding recording, it's all about gain staging. It was his idea to get one of these, and so I did. This is my Mackie Onyx 1640 mixer. Basically, all my mics or guitars, if I'm doing any DI, if I'm not putting them through my MPA 2 preamp, I'm putting it through this. So again, these are really clean sounding preamps. They sound amazing. And all my mics are going through this thing, especially for drums, before they go into my claret interface or my other Focusrite interface or preamps. Oh, and real quick before I forget, I have a whole rack, which is right over there, that's all like dedicated to drum stuff for the studio. So I've got some noise gates in there. I got my Alesis DM5 Brain, which is for triggers. I got another Focusrite preamp over there that I chain it via ADAT to my Focusrite claret, and that allows me to get 16 inputs into my studio. But that is I believe it's the Focusrite Scarlett preamp the Octo Pre. That one's actually going to get replaced for a Claret Octo Pre, which I also have here in the studio. I just haven't had a chance to wire it into the desk yet, but I'll be doing that soon. And everything is on some power conditioners, because God forbid the power goes out, you do not want your shit getting fried or getting like, short circuits or any of that shit. So everything on my desk is on power conditioners, and the power conditioners that I'm using are, they're definitely Furman. I don't know. Let me see if I can get the model exactly. Fuck it. They're really good Furman power conditioners. They cost like $600-700 each. So yeah, I got 2 of them, and they are powering the whole desk. Here we have my custom PC. Yes, I said PC because I hate using Mac for anything at all, other than the iPhone 11 because it has an amazing camera. But even still, I don't use that as my phone. I just use it as, I guess, my business phone to take pictures and really cool videos without having to do much work. So yeah, this is my gaming PC. Even though I'm not much of a gamer, those things are built for high performance. So I got one of these. It's a great computer, but I want to update because this thing's 2 years old, and I want to update to something with more firepower, I guess you could say. And I'm doing a lot bigger projects now, so do I really need one? No, but it would just make everything so much easier. So probably within a couple of months or so, I'll upgrade to another one. And next to it, you got all my mics. I got a nice AKG C414, I believe it's called, the mic. I've got some Sterling mics in that black case. Got one there and one behind it. And then in here are all my drum mics. I use Onyx mics, and those things are badass. They're awesome. Check them out. All right, so I do a ton of studio work. I'm literally here all day, every day. And I love to have my pedal board at my feet because it just helps me with my workflow. I'll be doing a separate video where I go more in depth about what's on my pedal board and why I chose that stuff on my pedal board. But I guess this is the perfect time to lead into the amps. All right, so each one of my amps are going to get their own separate video in where I'm going to explore all the ins and outs of each amplifier. But for today, let's just run through all the amps that I have. At the top, you have my Fortin Sigil. That's my first ever lunchbox amp, and I absolutely love that thing. It's bone crushing, and I can't believe that for an amp that size, it sounds so massive and so aggressive. Under it, we have my Fortin Cali. That thing is an absolute beast. Like, that is probably one of the best amplifiers I've ever played, heard, whatever. That thing is an absolute monster. And underneath it, you have my Randall Thrasher. I absolutely love this amp. And when it came out, a lot of people really didn't fuck with it. They didn't give it the time of day. And to this day, people say that it lacks bottom end, that it has no balls. That's bullshit, because this amp is an absolute fire breather. Again, I have to dedicate a video to each one of these amps to show you how great they are. But let's move on. So I have 2 of these guys in the studio. This is my Randall Thrasher 4x12, and this is the straight version. It's loaded with Celestion, I believe Celestion G100 speakers, but I don't have any cabs in the studio with V30s at the moment. So I'm also going to get the Fortin 4x12, the rear mounted cab, because that one does have V30s. Here we have a solid state monster. This is my old Randall RH300. This thing was a beast when I first got it, and it's my first amplifier head ever, and it's been with me all over the fucking place. The only thing that sucks about this amp is that I guess it's a design flaw. This thing has shorted out and crapped out on me several times. It's working at the moment, but it needs servicing. Maybe I just need to get it to a really good fucking tech. But I can't wait to get this thing serviced and play this thing again, because I haven't played it in so many fucking years. Here we have my Randall RD100. I love this amp because it's like what a JCM wants to be. This is like a JCM 800, but with way more fucking gain and way more balls. What I love about this amp is that it'll get you the gain that you want, but it won't take you to this overly saturated territory like a PV5150. I really don't like those amps because those amps tend to have a lot of saturation and a lot of gain, and not much tone. That's just my opinion. This has a very smooth yet very aggressive sounding distortion. But if you really want to take this thing to the next level, you put a fucking boost in front of it and this thing is going to be killing. Here we got another Randall 4x12, the same exact one that I mentioned just a few minutes ago. If you're like me and you love old school death metal, then you need to check out the Crate Stealth. This thing is fucking badass. It belongs to one of my best friends, and I've had this in my studio for a very, very long time. This thing can get you that old school 90s death metal tone as soon as you turn it on. I can't wait to shoot a video with this thing, and I may have to do a death cover with this thing. If I decide to do one, I would like to know what song from Death you'd guys like me to play. So leave that in the comments section down below. My buddy Alvin has worked with some of the biggest names in the music industry, some of them being the Bad Brains. This cabinet used to belong to the Bad Brains. This is a vintage SVT 8x10 by Ampeg. He sold that to me a couple of years ago, and I love this thing, and it's been in my studio ever since. So my PA system is connected to my Mackie Onyx mixer, and I use that mostly for when bands come in and they want to, the vocalist wants to hear himself, or if we're just hanging out here and we want to listen to some music off, our phones or whatever, I use it for that. Yo, I know a bunch of you guys are like, yo, Gooz, where the fuck are your guitars? That's what we really want to see. Well, let's go check them out. All right, this is why you got to follow me on all my social media platforms. You got to follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, because if you do follow me on those platforms, then you've already seen all of these guitars, with the exception of about maybe 2 of them. Something that some of you may not know is that I also used to be a very good classical guitarist. That's my classical right over there. And I was thinking about starting to play classical music again, and if I do, I will definitely be uploading some of that stuff onto the channel. Believe it or not, I actually never wanted to be a guitar player. I always wanted to be a drummer. And so I figured, even though I can't play drums worth shit, I might as well get something for the studio that I'm really gonna love looking at every day, and something that I would love to have and play on if I really was a drummer. Here we have my Pearl 8-piece birch kit. This thing is awesome, and it also has the matching Pearl rack. I also have the matching Pearl head, but I was doing some recordings the other day and I needed to stick a mic in through there, so I put the Evans ported bass drum head. My entire kit is fitted with Evans G2 heads on the top and G1 heads on the bottom, and for all the toms, and for the snare we have the Evans reverse dot. I also put these Evans E-rings on all of my toms and snare. Basically what this thing does is it helps eliminate all of the overtones that you don't want, especially in a recording. They make a huge difference, and I love these things. And although you can't see them right now, down here I have a set of Axis longboards. I have 3 workstations in the studio. Obviously you've seen mine, but what you haven't seen is over here to the right, I've got another workstation. Sometimes right now I just, got some food right there. But yeah, sometimes I'll just eat on this table, just kick back, relax. But I also do a lot of setup work here. So what I do is I clear the table off and I lay my guitars down. I got all my tools in here to set up and maintain my guitars, clean them, polish the frets, all that stuff. I got all that stuff in here. And what I'll do is, like I said, I'll clean the table off and just set up my guitars, get them ready for recording. Here we just got some, some other knickknacks. Some stuff that I need for the studio. That's a shield right there. It's a mic shield. And I got some more foam. And it's just a bunch of stuff laying around. Over here, we've got the mini fridge. And just a couple of boxes I like to keep lying around in the studio. Like these things right here. These boxes are cool in case I got to ship anything out. Like, any guitar stuff. But I might end up chucking them. Who knows? And over here, I'm going to end up fitting a couch, but that's something for a later day. This is a bunch of photography stuff that my partner Will Photo uses. This is his station right here. Let me get some light on here. This is my man Will's station right here. Nice and clean, nice and tidy. You know, this is where he does some of his editing. And when we have clients come in, they'll sit down, and that's his backup computer. His real computer is a freaking beast. But yeah, this is more photography shit that he uses. Got my green screen right there. One thing that I always wanted was a black box studio, so that's exactly what I did. You hear where I got 2 brick walls, made sure they were both black, the ceiling's black, the floor's black, everything, man. And it's cool because it when the lights are off and I only have, you know, these lights, it creates a really cool atmosphere. And I think that's really important, especially if you're going to be working in a studio and you're going to be in a creative environment. The whole vibe of the place has to look really cool. Hope you guys enjoyed getting a chance to spend some time with the Gooz Man, and hopefully you enjoyed my studio. If anyone is interested in working with me, whether it be mixing, mastering, recording, or anything of that nature, hit me up in the comments section down below and I'll get back to you. And if I don't, for any reason, feel free to send me an email. I'll also include that in the description box down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow all my social media links down below. Peace.